Hi creative friends, this is Sreya and thank you so much for being here. So this is part 3 of my creating a spread in this journal right here, Painting the Feminine by Connie Solera. And I let it alone for a few days, and now that I've come back to it, I am really loving a lot of what is going on. But however, I do see some potential issues and problems right away. So that's why it's so important to leave things alone for, a day, a week, even a month sometimes. And when you come back, you just get a fresh perspective. So there are some areas of the spread that I am really, really loving, but the huge problem that I see right off the bat is that I find that this spread is too much like Connie. So what I mean by that is I have not injected enough of my visual language into the mix. To me, this is like too much of Connie's voice. So I need to bring it back to my side of the street a little bit. So this is the first spread that I made a video series on, and you can look at it in my playlist. And over here, the issue I had was that I did not want to cover up, like I wanted to retain too much of Connie's work, but then in the end, I managed to bring it back into like my visual language. So I feel like this is a good balance of Connie's work and my work. Like this looks like me, it feels like me. It feels a little bit different, but it's still like when I look at this, I feel like, okay, that's my visual language. But over here, it doesn't feel like my visual language. So I'm gonna have to kind of like make it more my own without covering up too much of Connie's work. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get out my viewfinder, and I'm really loving this orange against the blue. I'm loving this pattern over here that Connie made, and like there is a lot about this spread that I really am loving. Now initially I really was drawn to this piece over here, and this is part of the book that Connie used. It's called Colors. And so this is from the original book. And so Connie retained that from the original spread. And now it's just kind of looking out of place to me, to my eye, in this spread. So I don't know. I don't want to cover it up, but I'm thinking that maybe I might have to. I don't know yet. But anyways, let's just get back to this spread. Does not look like it has enough of my voice, on the page. So I think what I'm going to do first of all is just draw another figure over here. And while I kind of figure out how I can make this my own, without covering up too much of Connie's work. And that's why working in a book like this is so challenging, but it also teaches me so much. So I think that's gonna work right there. And I think I mentioned this in my previous video, but I'm gonna show you like one of Connie's spreads over here. Okay, like this is a great one. So I hope you can see this, but this is 100% Connie's work. I have not done anything to this spread at all. But if you look at it, the background is busy and so are the figures. However, when I look at it, I can clearly see that there are two figures, within this background. Like, I don't know how she did it, honestly, but I don't feel like it's too busy. I feel like there is a balance of the busy background and the busy foreground. Like there's no kind of like confusion about it. So I cannot do that. Like I don't know how she did it. But to me, like I would have to go in and kind of like, settle down the background a little bit so the figures pop out. But she has done this like masterfully. And it looks easy, but I mean, I don't know, like I wouldn't know how to do this. So I'm going to have to figure out how to kind of push my background into the, you know, like push it back so that the figures kind of pop out. And I don't know what color I'm going to use to do that. I don't want to bring in a black or a gray. I think I might go with, so I don't want to go with a blue because I have a lot of blue, like the faces are blue and this is blue. So I feel like if I think I might go with a black. I mean, I know I said I didn't want a gray, but I think a black might work. I don't know. That's the thing, is I'm just gonna have to kind of try it out and see what works, see what, you know, what I can kind of make happen here. So I'm just gonna kind of go in and just work really quickly and push this background into the, you know, like push it back. I don't want to say push the background into the background, but that's exactly what I'm doing. And I don't know, I feel like I'm making a big mess out of this whole spread, but you know, sometimes you've just got to go through an ugly phase and a messy phase and, you know, I don't know what I'm doing phase, and hope that you can come out on the other side. So I don't like this hair part. I just don't like the color of it. I don't know. It's looking really strange to me. I thought it was a good idea when I did it, but, and see, now I might be covering up too much of Connie's work. So I'm going to try to retain some of, you know, her background here. So I think what I'm going to do is around the figures, I'm going to bring in the black, and then maybe like over here a little bit, I can let some of that show through somehow. I don't know. But working in a book like this, and it doesn't have to be this specific book, but working in a repurposed book and using the images that are already in there and incorporating those images into your work is such a great teacher. I mean, it really forces me to step outside of my comfort zone, and I really have to do a lot of problem solving with elements that are not my own, because I'm working with images and colors and lines and marks, etc., that I didn't do. So in this example, I'm working with Connie's images and her visual language. You know, so it really does force you to think outside your comfort zone. And in that way, like, it stretches me so much, and I'm so appreciative of the opportunity that I get to work in this way. So, oh boy, I like the black, but to me, this just seems like really disjointed, and I think I'm just gonna have to cover it all up, which, you know, which means that I don't know if I've covered up too much of Connie's work, but I'd rather have the spread be, you know, too much of my voice than too much of Connie's voice, because I don't want to, like, I want to retain my voice, like whatever I'm working in. Like I have a book on Van Gogh that I also am working in, and I'm probably going to do a video series on that as well. And so even in that book, like, I don't want to make it too much of the images that are on the page. Like, I want it to be more, if I'm going to err on the side of anything, it's going to be like, I want it to be my visual voice more so than the images that are on the page. I hope I'm making sense with what I'm saying. So, okay, that to me looks a lot better than it did. So I'm just going to leave that. And this is chalk paint, so it should dry fairly fast. So now what I'm gonna do is work on this face over here, and because all the faces are blue, I think I'm gonna maybe bring in like a yellow, and that way I can retain like that yellow over there. And this is like a very abstract spread, so I'm not even going, I don't even know if I'm gonna put facial features or any of that stuff. I don't know yet. And I need to, so I'm gonna bring in my Stabilo pencil here, my blue one. And I think I need to like kind of mess it up a little bit. So I need to get rid of this over here. And I don't like this hair over here. So let me see here. I think I'm going to bring in some yellow over here. And I like the fact that the black unified the background and pushed everything, you know, back so the figures can pop out. But I don't know if black is the right color. I mean, the black does pick up on the black here, and maybe once I go in and add some black, you know, there's black here and here. So it does kind of pick up on some of the black. Maybe I need to just add a little bit more black into the figures. So let me try to do that. And I'm just gonna use my pen and maybe just like make some scratchy marks here. See if that does anything. So what I'm doing is I'm wanting to put some black into the figures so it can pick up on the black of the background. So I'm going to go back to one of Connie's spreads because I just want to illustrate my point. Like I want to reiterate it about the background and the foreground. Okay, so if you can see how I put the black, you know, throughout the background and the figures are coming forward. But to go back to the spread I showed you with Connie, well, I can just show you this one. It's a different one than I showed you the last time, but it's the same principle. So as you can see, there are two figures here. Now, when I look at this spread, I can see clearly that there are two figures here. Like, I'm not confused about, you know, I'm not confused. These are two figures on the page. And there's lots of busy areas within those figures. But I'm also looking at the background, and the background is busy too. Like, it's not a solid color like mine is. So there's a lot going on in the background, but I can clearly see that, okay, that's the background and this is the foreground. These are the figures. But, you know, what I want to stress, I know I just made this point, but I just want to stress it again. If I was not working in a book like this, you know, I would, now I'm still going back to what I know, to what is familiar to me, what feels comfortable to me. But I'm hoping that as I work through the pages of this book, and there's a lot of pages in the book, I'm hoping that as I go along with each spread, I am going to be more comfortable with knowing how to have some busyness in the background. Like maybe I'm not going to be able to make it as busy as Connie's work, but I'm hoping that I can have some busyness in the background and have, you know, interesting parts of the figure, yet still read my spread as, okay, that this is a foreground, these are figures, this is the background. I am hoping that as I work through these pages, I won't have to go back, you know, I won't have to go back into my comfort zone of just putting, you know, an entire color in the background. So that is my hope. And as I go through different spreads, I'm hoping that I can learn how to do that, because I am just, you know, telling you that Connie makes it look very easy, but, you know, it is not easy to do this. It is not easy at all. So I don't know if she meticulously planned this out, or if it's just she's been doing this for so long that, you know, it just came to her naturally. I don't know, but I can just tell you that this is not an easy task. And so that is my hope, that I do not revert to what I know all the time, which is, hey, I'm just going to put a one solid color in the background. So anyways, I just wanted to you know, reiterate that point. So I'm just going to continue just making some marks over here and, you know, bringing some of the black into my figures so that I can pick up on the background. And whether I, you know, keep my background black, I mean, I might go in with some oil pastels and kind of mess it up a little bit, because after seeing Connie's work, I am getting a little more brave, that I can, you know, step outside my comfort zone a little bit. And that's another great reason to work like this, is that, you know, I can turn the page and I can say, oh, well, look, you know, Connie did this, so, you know, I can do that too. And that's okay to copy another artist if we're learning from it. Like this book over here that I'm working in, I'm not selling any of the art. I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to sell the art journal or anything like that. I'm working in it merely, well, the main purpose is to learn. You know, I'm learning and I'm strengthening my visual language, and I'm learning as I go along. So that's another great reason to work in a book like this. So I feel now that this is more solidly more me than it was when I started. So that is a good thing. That is a really good thing. And I'm happy with that. Now, do I want to use oil pastels right now? I don't, you know, I think I might. I don't know. But I think I might just kind of try it out a little bit here. But what I really want to do is bring some oil pastels into the background, because that's my, you know, that's my problem spot here. In the sense that I want the background to not be a solid color. Okay, and I think I can bring some of that in there. And I think what I'm going to do is just, you know, wrap this session up for now and come back to it. So if you've watched all the way to the end, thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.